What you are about to see is a story told and shown to you secondhand. Why secondhand? Because there is no way to explore the problems and make you feel the emotions as vividly as by having you experience it all for yourself in Israel. The missions program of the United Jewish Appeal was started for this very reason, to bring American Jews to Israel for them to see for themselves just what the very real, very urgent humanitarian needs are. The mission follows the path taken by scores of immigrants through the years, starting at an absorption center like this one at Maon Olim. Here is where UJA does a vitally important job, helping people to find themselves, helping them to settle into a new way of life. Here, just a few rooms, but rooms that spell warmth, comfort, and welcome to a stranger in a new land. And here also is where the new identity as an Israeli starts to take shape, by learning still more about a rich, ancient heritage, and being schooled in a language which will soon become as familiar as the word home. The mission group continues through the Bet Shan Valley, and participants see settlements where the quality of life is strained to the limit, where children must sleep in shelters at night so they can safely attend school in the morning. And UJA helps these children by building new homes for their families and helping them to receive the type of training, education, and care which will aid them in their growth towards a future filled with promise. And the mission sees an example of this determined growth in a technical school run by the Organization for Rehabilitation Through Training, ORT, where UJA funds help young men to train and learn as technicians, mechanics, and embryonic engineers. What else does UJA do in Israel? It builds, throughout the country, places for people who never had homes, and for their children, a link to the future and to the past. And it is exactly this link in the Jewish experience which brings the mission group here to Masada. This is where 2,000 years ago, Jews chose death rather than submit to enslavement. The mission members take part in a special ceremony commemorating the courageous spirit which has been passed down to be carried on by Jews today, young and old alike. And the beautiful old people of Israel are not forgotten. Here at a UJA JDC-supported Mal Ben home, the mission group sees firsthand why it is so important for an elderly man or woman to know the simple joys and pleasures of living out their years in dignity. Laughing with a young visitor who helps pass the hours pleasantly. Working creatively with hands that used to twist together in despair or pray tightly closed, clinging to the hope of freedom someday, sometime. And mission members are told of the enormous needs of the Mal Ben program for these people who have lived through major holocausts in their lifetimes. Yet they have survived, but many of their brothers and sisters did not. And this is why here is the final stop on this mission to Israel, Yad Vashem, a poignant memorial to the 6 million Jews who were slain by Hitler's inhuman death machine. The young are taken here to learn of their links to the past. a chilling reminder of what it means to be a Jew. You are part of all that you have just seen. And now more than ever, in 1971, your active support is called for. Survival means sacrifice. The humanitarian programs of the United Jewish Appeal exist only because people like you continue to care. How can one Jew do any less than help another, especially now?
This is Herb Crosney, UJA's Israel correspondent. I'm standing in the midst of a new development on the outskirts of Jerusalem, where new houses are being built for immigrants. With me are three people from Trenton, New Jersey, George Warren and Edie and Arnold Gordon. Edie, what has most impressed you so far on your trip here?
I really think it's the beautiful people. The men and the women are just lovely. They're lovely to look at, and they walk straight and strong. And this really is what has impressed us. This was the first thing that impressed us when we arrived.
Is there anything that impresses you, for instance, the spot where we're standing?
Well, this spot impresses me totally because of the tremendous development that I see going on in Israel today. There is a enthusiasm among the people that is I think, very, very much told by seeing these buildings rise. It's like a new nation growing and a tremendous nationalistic spirit showing itself in these new buildings that are being erected.
George, do you feel that you as an American Jew have a role in this process of building here in Israel?
Herb, it isn't a question of thinking. It is obvious that we do have a role, that it's essential that this country be supported so that it can achieve its objectives, which are really basic to every Jew in the entire world.
Arnold, I'm going to go back to you. What is the message, the single message that you're going to take home with you to tell the people back there?
Well, the message is basically been told by all three of us. The message is quite simply, the need is here, the people are doing the job here in Israel, and the job has to be done back in Trenton and the entire United States. And our objective is simply raising a tremendous amount of money this year to help Israel on its social and human needs, which we can see how it's being used right here now in Israel today. And we know that we're going to do the job.